Hello and welcome everybody. We're getting started now, so just to give a little bit more time for a few more people to join, but it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much. So we will begin. Hopefully you can see the screen okay. I'm going to flick over to the next screen and hopefully that is what you are able to see. So firstly, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm always so happy to see caring parents proactively seek solutions to bring the benefits of emotional intelligence to their home. Now, I know your time is precious, and with managing family, school, and work, so I am mindful of this, and I will ask you to just stay with me to the end as I share some proven and sustainable solutions that you can use at home right now. So this webinar is going to go for probably about 45 minutes, so just make sure you're in a quiet space. And with these 3 easy secrets that I'm going to be sharing with you, it's really going to help you understand what you can apply now in the home to support your child's emotional intelligence. And so a little bit about us. My name is Tennille. I am the founder and the CEO of ELMA, the Emotional Literacy and Mindfulness Academy for Children. And we help children feel safe with their emotions so they can make healthy life choices as adults. Emotional Literacy and Mindfulness Academy, we call it ELMA for short, is a global leader in culturally specific social and emotional learning tools for children. Our innovative at-school and at-home programs are accessed digitally online for ease and delivered personally offline for real-world engagement. And our programs themselves we have graduated thousands of students and trained hundreds of teachers. Our goal is to reach 250 million children by the end of 2030 with these life-changing skills. We are research-led with Edith Cowan University in Australia, and we have successfully rolled out into homes and schools across India. Our programs fit within what's known as the SEL framework, which is the social and emotional learning framework. We're curriculum friendly. We have a train the teacher model, but mainly for you that's specific is the at home and at school program. So the at home program is the one we're going to talk a little bit about today, and that creates the full integration system. But before we begin, let's just dive into what emotional intelligence actually is. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to identify and regulate our own emotions, to recognize the emotions of other people and feel empathy toward them, and to use these abilities to communicate effectively and build healthy and productive relationships, which I think is incredibly important in today's world. Now, I'm just going to launch a quick poll to ask you what age your child is, in what age bracket. So you'll see that pop up, and if you can just very quickly select what age bracket your child fits into. We can see quite a few coming through. That's great. So we've got a few in 9 to 10-year-olds. We've got some between 2 and 4, some between 5 and 6, and some between 7 and 8. So that's fantastic. Wonderful. So a very joyful age bracket, which I am sure keeps you all very busy. So as we look at emotional intelligence, what I think is very important for us to understand is the difference between emotional intelligence and emotional literacy. So emotional literacy is the ability to actually recognize, name, and express feelings, whereas emotional intelligence is one's ability to recognize, use, and manage those emotions in a very positive way. And they use this in order to manage stress. So emotional literacy might be knowing feelings and how to manage them, whereas emotional intelligence is about communicating effectively. Speaking of which, if you do have any questions that come up throughout this presentation, please do utilize the chat box, and what I will do is address your questions at the end. Emotional literacy is also about how do we stay calm, and emotional intelligence is how do we empathize with others. Emotional literacy examples is ability to manage anger, whereas emotional intelligence is the ability to solve challenges. Research worldwide shows that emotional and social literacy skills create more resilient, more caring, and confident kids, and dramatically improves academic results in both literacy and numeracy. Program outcomes of what we like to see fall under this bucket. So when children are doing these kinds of work, these are the categories. This falls under the social and emotional learning continuum. So it's under social awareness, self-awareness, social management, and self-management. These both fall under the buckets of personal competence and social competence. Now, my guess is that you might be watching this webinar because of a few reasons. You might want your child to make healthy life choices as an adult by providing them with tools to equip and excel in life, with others and at school. Or perhaps you want to help your child regulate their emotions and build empathy and resilience, compassion, and perhaps a growth mindset. Or you might want to create a deeper connection with your child or better communication. Or maybe you want to be a greater role model for your family and achieve that harmony in the home to support your kids to feel better about themselves or you. Or lastly, you might want to be able to understand the link between emotional intelligence and academic performance. Now, again, just out of interest, I'm just going to launch another poll and just ask which one is it for you as to why you might be here. So I'll give you a few minutes to answer this. I've shortened the answers to supporting your child's emotional development. So if this comes up, just select which one you feel fits best with you as that poll pops up. We have some answering, yeah. So a deeper connection with my child and my family, fantastic. To support my child's emotional development, excellent. We've also got here to support my child's academic performance, yes. But the largest one here is, which is interesting but doesn't surprise me, is to help my child regulate their emotions, build empathy, resilience, compassion, and a growth mindset. So that seems to be the biggest one so far as to why people are here. Yeah, definitely the largest one. So very interesting to hear, and that's great that you're here because these are the kinds of things that we are going to be addressing. So let's dive in and have a quick look first at what is happening with the children of today. Now, mental health disorders are developed by the age of 14 years old. Now, mental health promotion and education interventions typically don't begin until early teens. Evidence clearly suggests that risk factors that impact mental health begin actually from birth and continue into early childhood. Now, UNICEF has said that ensuring mental health and well-being in adolescents' formative years can foster a better transition from childhood to adulthood. And the Murdoch Children's Research Institute also stated that improving mental health for children and adolescents has become an international priority. So we know that there is a problem and we know that there is a potential solution. What we do know as well with our children is that they are the isolation generation. With COVID and children facing, they've had a deeper sense of isolation more than ever before. And what's worse is that a lot of us didn't have the tools at home to really equip them with how to deal with this at an emotional level. And the years ahead, well, they're still not very promising. So now it's more important than ever to support our children's emotional well-being, and in-home education has actually proven to be there's been a lot of benefits and quickly becoming the way of our future. Now, emotional intelligence is for everybody. We live in a multi-generational format with grandparents at home perhaps, or all of us at home, but it's never too late to learn. You see, these tools can also aid in breaking some old generational patterns, that were for the benefit of generations to come, because we know the current model isn't sustainable, and it's evident in our planet right now that something needs to change, and it starts with us. So a question I have for you around parenting is, do you feel that it's a thankless job or a joyful job? Do you feel exhausted? I ask for you just to reflect on that. And do you feel that you could have more connection with your children and within the family? We ran a survey, and more than 93% of parents said yes, they feel they could have a deeper connection with their family. We know with the busy lives that we lead, connections are often things that get forgotten, and this leads to very stressful household dynamics. And we've got someone saying joyful and exhausting. Yeah, fantastic. I think that captures it. Now, we know that in stressful households that they become disconnected, and you might wonder if those moments where it gets really stressful and you unfortunately start resorting to yelling or having those emotional outbursts, maybe perhaps you might ask yourself, does this have a lasting effect? And well, the answer is yes. Studies have shown that there are long-term repercussions of disorganized and stressful household dynamics. But let's have a little think about your own upbringing. Could you be subconsciously parenting the same way you were raised? Do you have moments where you think, oh my gosh, I sound like my parents? You see, nothing will change if nothing changes. But the first point here is that it's not your fault. The subconscious programs are part of our biological hardwiring, and it takes 2 ways for us to reprogram those neural pathways of pattern behavior. One of them is lots of repetition, and the second is emotional trauma. And let's face it, when you've experienced some kind of emotional trauma, it changes you as a person. However, we specialize in supporting you through the repeated emotional intelligence techniques so you can have that sustainable change. And the question is, as being a parent, and I said this is at the beginning, is does it feel like a thankless slog for you, or does it feel like one that you're really enjoying at every moment? Now, I understand that your success metric of a good day might be that you just got through the day without too many meltdowns, and maybe the house is going to bed quietly. And sometimes yelling is what works. I mean, it just gives you that moment's peace. And that is totally understandable, because everything you tried perhaps didn't work, or it's just natural that you get to that point where you want to yell. But what if there was something that could help you before you got to this stage, or something that could help your child so it didn't arrive at that stage? If I said to you, just come on a journey with me at the moment, a bit of an imaginary journey, what if there was a secret recipe? And the interesting thing about this recipe is that it doesn't take a lot of time. There aren't many ingredients, and for every minute that you spend, it could give you hours back of harmony in the home, or hours of happier children. However, the reality is most people are relying on luck. They read a little bit of a book here, and they read a little bit of or watch a video there, only wasting that precious time in the hope that they might see some sustainable difference in their child, only to find that even after implementing that tool, well, the behaviors come back. Now, my goal for this training for you is in 2 parts. I want to, 1, empower you to provide you with the understanding of how to break old patterns and re-establish peace and calm in the home by teaching your children how to better regulate their own emotions. And number 2 is to provide you with a set of inexpensive, easy to use tools that you can find and use that are short, fun, and daily and interactive for the entire family. It's designed to create harmony at home and also at school, and achieve lifelong rewards for you and your child's sense of well-being and sense of self-worth. So let's dive in. First secret is 10 minutes a day, how it will build emotionally balanced kids that become great adults that make healthy life choices. Now, the thing about this is it's 100% doable. It's happening right now. You just need someone with the tools and the expertise to help guide you through the entire way. So today I'm going to share those 3 secrets of the recipe that are really easy and effective. So this is the first one. The second one is why learning this stuff is not about sitting still. It's not about having 0 tantrums or never yelling again. What you're going to learn are some practical life tools that will help you with all those ups and downs without that parenting guilt or stress. And then the third one is how emotional intelligence links to academic performance and what this means for your child. So 3 key things that are very interesting to dive into. Before we do, I hope you would just have a moment here for me to share with you a little bit about my story and why I'm here and doing this today for you. You see, this is me as a little child. I was a girl from the Australian bush. I grew up in domestic violence. I got bullied and I was on a predictable path that could only end badly. You see, the emotions that I didn't know how to deal with as a child would come out later on in life, one way or another. So how did I turn this around? I searched, and emotional intelligence was something that came across my path. I spent decades and thousands spending tens of thousands of dollars on education, self-development as an adult. And through this focused study and self-reflection, I developed a series of tools enabling me to better understand my emotions and my behaviors. And because of this, I went on to build a completely different life. I built a charity that supported children impacted by domestic violence, that positively influenced the lives of more than 40,000 children in 5 different countries. I built a multi-million-dollar company specializing in social and digital, and yes, that is Richard Branson. And I got to meet some of these incredible people on my journey. I was invited to sit on some of the most prestigious boards in Australia, including some ASX listed and IT companies. I won a series of awards, including the Australian Leadership Award recognised by the Prime Minister, and the Telstra Businesswoman of the Year Award, and I was inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame and recognised by the Australian Financial Review as one of the most top 100 most influential women in Australia. And you know, for me, looking at this and reflecting back, it wasn't a bad outcome for someone who was on a path of self-destruction that I was heading down as a young adult. But you see, it wasn't until I reached the top of my career ladder that I realized the ladder was up against the wrong wall. My trajectory forced me to recover from a very dangerous place as an adult, as opposed to actually providing me with these tools that I needed to mitigate these issues up front as a child. You see, if the population had these tools systematically ingrained and available to them from childhood, what impact do you think this might have both globally and locally? And I ask this question for you as a way to reflect. If you were given tools, it was not our narrative in our generation. So if you were given tools for your own emotional intelligence as a child, do you think that maybe you would have made different choices as an adult? But what we've developed, it's really working and it's very powerful right now. This is what's happening at the moment in across the world, across the globe with different children in schools. We are working in India and have launched at a school called Data Mega Academy, World Academy. We have thousands of children doing our program right now and they're loving it. And so I'm going to show you some of these tools and how Allegra's mum, for example, was able to use these tools to help her daughter's outbursts. So Allegra suffered emotional outbursts and tantrums. She became a lot calmer, a lot happier, more regulated, and an emotionally stable child. Or here, like in Singapore, her daughter instantly stopped crying when she started using some of our tools. And I remember her saying to me, I can't believe that just happened. And then, so let's now jump in and show you some of those tools. So 10 minutes a day, how this is going to build emotionally balanced children so they make healthy life choices as adults. Now you might be thinking, I don't have time to do anything else. I've got so much going on already. Is this just another activity I'm going to have to try and schedule in? Well, studies have actually demonstrated that children that have a healthy relationship to their emotions don't tend to turn to suppressants like alcohol, drugs, or other distractions as adults. And for example, there are statistically significant associations between learning these skills, emotional intelligence, as a kindergarten or young adult, and how this results in domains of education, employment, criminal activity, substance use, and mental health. Ultimately, what it means is they're making healthier life choices with emotional intelligence. So for me, it's a no-brainer. 10 minutes a day, I can make time for that. Another really great outcome from science has demonstrated emotional intelligence correlates with lower rates of depression. So we do know for a fact that social emotional intelligence is something that will no doubt impact them as adults. So I think where we start when we do this and we start to learn these tools is understanding your child's brain. So understanding a child's developing brain helps us understand why these emotional outbursts are occurring. You see, at their age and the age group that you guys have selected, their frontal lobe is not switched on like what ours is, which means they can't accept or reject anything. They can't regulate. The frontal lobe is responsible for regulation. So what happens is they are bombarded with all of these emotions because their brain literally can't process it. They need an actual tool that's external, almost like a frontal lobe for them to be able to work through that tool until the frontal lobe comes online. They need tools to support them during this important time of development. However, their attention span is short, so we do say that 10 minutes exercise is why we do it 10 minutes a day. For example, little Dylan here, he was unable to express his emotions at all. Within the first week, his mum said to me, "Oh my gosh, he's expressing his emotions. This is amazing." And so this is a little bit about it. This is the first secret. It's called the energy ball. Now, everyone has one. And when a child can express through an imaginary external object, it's much easier than it being their own feeling. So they express with their emotions, they express their emotions with ease. And so this is just one of our little energy ball statements that our children have within the program, and they end up knowing this off by heart. My energy ball holds my thoughts and feelings. My energy ball sits in my heart. I can catch other people's energy ball, but I have to drop my own. Some energy balls are unhelpful. If I catch someone else's energy ball that I don't like, I can put smiles into it and send it back. Now, it's quite simple, but quite advanced level of emotional intelligence learning that they're learning here. For example, after 1 week, a 6-year-old had said to her mother when she came home and she was stressed out, "Mum, don't throw your energy ball at me." And she was able to understand whether it was her energy ball or someone else's and whether or not she wanted to catch that feeling. Then she went on to share her energy ball, which was happy, with her mum, which there are so many layers there of empathy and compassion and understanding. Now, being able to know how to express their emotion is, the core of most behavior issues. They have these outbursts because they literally don't know how to express. So let me give you an example here. Now, I call this the false sense of order cycle. For example, just imagine this with me. It's time to go to school. It's probably not hard to imagine this, actually. It's time to go to school. They haven't finished their game at home and they don't want to leave. You start getting frustrated and have told them time and time again, it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go. The child starts to cry and begins to throw the toys. Then you scream back and you start to bargain with them just to get them out the door. Everyone's finally in the car, and in your mind, you feel like it's a win. You got them in the car. However, there's a false sense of order that exists, which takes hours from your day just to get here. And the outcome is you're both unhappy and feeling stressed. So let's have a little look and do a rerun of this false sense of order cycle with some tools that we teach. So again, your child is playing in the room with toys and feeling happy. You are in a rush, but you decide to take a few moments to enter into their flow instead of pulling them out of it. So you pop down and ask them, "What are you playing with?" And you get involved just for a few minutes. Then you explain to them that your energy ball feels stressed because we might get to school late. You see that they love the toy that they're playing with. So you give them what we call the option method. After playing with them for 1 minute, you say to them, "Would you like to bring this toy or this toy with you in the car?" They select one, and then on your way and you head off to the car. On your way to school, you ask them, "How's your energy ball feeling?" They say happy, and so are you. So the outcome here is that you save lots of time and you're both feeling happy. Basically, it's 10 minutes a day with easy tools for a happy energy ball, or hours a day of outbursts with no tools for an unhappy energy ball. So let's have a look at the second secret. Now, while learning how to create peace in the home and giving your child the tools to cope, with their emotions is not about sitting still or zero tantrums or never ever yelling again. It's about learning the practical life tools that work with you through all the ups and downs without the parenting guilt or stress. I want you to imagine that this is a fantastic quote, that we are emotional coaches. Imagine you're coaching instead of parenting. You might be thinking, my child won't sit still long enough for any kind of calm activity. They go from 0 to 1,000, they end up yelling, and then I yell at them and I feel bad. Well, the great thing is about these things is that you can learn is that your child does not have to sit still on the top of a mountain to be calm or learn emotional intelligence. And whether we like it or not, our kids mirror us. They look to us for how we emotionally regulate if they don't have the tools. So every time you have an outburst, this is a wonderful time to demonstrate to your child how you will regulate yourself. If you stumble, you just say, I'm sorry for yelling. I'm going to walk away and take 4 big breaths, just like the 4 pause exercise that we have in our program, and come back with a happier energy ball. Now, big emotions are totally okay, but what's not okay is expressing them in an unhealthy way. When you do, just stop, pause, and reset for the next time. So the number 2 secret is, if your child has an emotional outburst and is trying to and you're in a situation where you feel like you need some kind of tool, we call it the name it, reflect, and redirect. The connect and redirect. So this is how it works. Name the emotion. When you see they're upset, you can say, I see that your energy ball is feeling upset right now. See, when you say that it's your energy ball, it's an external object, so they don't feel like they're being attacked. They don't feel like that you're upset at them. It's just noticing that their energy ball is upset. Now, what you do is show them that you're listening by something called body matching. So for example, if their face is all screwed up like this and they're really upset, you screw your face up and go, oh, I can see you're really upset right now. And then once you've done that body matching, what that is creating is an unspoken language of connection between you and your child, because they feel like you understand them. And the next one is reflect with them afterwards on what to do better next time. So when they feel this way, and a great way to do that is just to reflect with them. And usually it's not in the moment when they are having the tantrum or the emotional outburst. That's the worst time to try and talk to them, because they've pretty much got no mechanism to engage for talking or logic. So reflection is something I would say use that for later when it's a quiet and calm time. And then what you do is, in the midst of it, once you've named it and you've reflected it, and then you redirect it. So redirect onto something that you know will make them happy by diverting their attention. So for example, being silly or being playful, something that will make them laugh. Now, this doesn't mean that there won't be any tantrums at all, kids and parents included. It's about how you come back from that and how quickly. It's about how you express and share conversation using emotional intelligence tools. So with our 10-minute tools, you can reduce tantrums and the outbursts little by little with small practices each day. Secret number 3 is about how emotional intelligence links directly to academic performance. And what does this mean for you and for your child? So investment in education, we know globally, has never been higher, and it is increasing. But we are struggling to see the improvements in student performance we want to achieve. Something that's a very interesting outcome was through the McKenzie study, and this was through PISA. Now, you might think that your child's student achievement might be influenced by things like the home environment, by other student peer behavior, maybe by other factors at school, or maybe the teacher is not as great as you want them to be, or other factors. However, across 5 regions of the world, the largest reason and the predictor for student achievement was actually mindset. So all these other elements, yes, they play a small role, but mindset was the largest element. So mindset links directly to emotional intelligence. If they have the ability to have resilience and regulation, and they learn all this through emotional intelligence. And so it has been found through numerous studies that it has shown positively that it predicts positive social and academic outcomes in children. It's been found to also correlate with enhanced life satisfaction and self-esteem. When you work at the core of that, this is what happens is we have IQ and EQ and we get success. So if you focus on EQ in the formative years with your child, you won't have to worry about things like the heavy investments in educating your children further, or maybe feeling like you've got to spend a lifetime supporting your child to achieve. With EQ, emotional intelligence, you can build children that are resilient, have great social skills, they're positive contributors to the community, they're independent, they're compassionate, and they're kind. So now I have actually shown you the 3 key secrets. Secret 1 was about the 10 minutes a day. Secret 2 was why it doesn't have to have anything to do with sitting still. And secret 3 was how it links to academic performance. Now, this is not about getting to the end of this parenting journey without making mistakes or falling. This is about enjoying the journey. So learning from your child, not trying to control them and put them in a compliant box. It's about allowing them to become the most fully expressed and happiest versions of themselves. You see, the one thing that you have as the parent is that you can change this trajectory. You have choice and your children don't. What if you were given trainings or templates or proven processes that are easy to follow and they're fun? Do you think that you could finally transform your home and see some real results with your children's emotions? So here's the solution. We have a 10-minute a day with fun daily activities. We have cartoons and workbooks for the kids. There are weekly tips and emotional intelligence parenting tools, and we have a private community with other parents. This is an example of our online parent portal where you access all these tools in a self-paced manner, really easy to apply. You see, we teach children skills, social and emotional skills that stick. And research shows worldwide that emotional intelligence creates more resilient, caring, confident kids. And like I said before, it increases, dramatically improves their academic results in both literacy and numeracy. So who is this for? Well, this is basically the home program is for parents that are passionate about their children's emotional development, the ones that want to connect at a deeper level with their kids. They're willing to invest in themselves. And they maybe have grandparents who are brave enough to break the generational patterns. Who is this not for? Okay, so this is not for parents that aren't willing to build on their own emotional intelligence. It's a joint effort. The parent that is not maybe willing to put in that 10 minutes per day, or the ones that aren't willing to invest in themselves, or maybe you're a procrastinator or an information gatherer. You won't get the results that we see from all of our students if you tick those boxes. So this is a little bit about the program. We have a special limited offer for this particular webinar. It is valued at $800 per month, but we have a limited offer for it to be $14 per month with a $67 upfront fee. It includes 6 modules of the emotional literacy mindfulness cartoons for children, 6 cartoons. You get free mindfulness meditations, frequency music for relaxation. There are daily exercises to integrate long-term change, monthly workbooks per module, a certificate or certification for your children that have completed the course, colouring in my energy ball worksheets. We've got thought bubbles workbooks to explore how thoughts impact our emotions. There's a 6-month program with daily emotions and lessons, and there's an online community for ongoing mentoring and support. This is a lifetime access, so per month, as you continue paying your monthly fee, you'll always have access. And you also get to take part in international research, which is in partnership with an Australian leading university. So, I know that the ones that dive in are always going to be my best students. So I'm going to share the link with you now if you wanted to accept that offer and join and enroll. Enrollments won't be open for too long. We've got them open just for the next sort of 24 hours on this particular offer. So what I will do is share that link in the chat field for everybody. And I'm going to open up for some questions as well. So if you do have any questions about the program or about some of these topics that we've covered, then please let me know, and you're welcome to unmute yourself, and we can go through some of those questions. So as I wait for anybody that would like to unmute themselves, you're welcome to. We will keep covering off on this offer. So it is a fantastic offer. It is only limited at this stage because obviously we've shared that it's worth a whole lot more, but at $14 per month, it's very cost effective for families, and we've had a lot of success with families over the last few years doing this program. So like I said again, if you would like to join that, please click on that link, and that will give you immediate access to all of that at that special price. It is worth investing into, because at the end of the day, you know, like I've said, statistically we see the impact it's having both academically and for their social skills. So feel free to, if you have joining us, we've got a few that are joining, so that's fantastic. So if you had any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself, and you are most welcome to ask those questions.
Hi, I'm Dr. Aditi. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
I wanted to know, do you have any method through which we can understand that exactly where we are going wrong, and what are the parts we need to, focus on to?
Sure. Yes. Yep. So I don't know that it's a question of where you're going wrong. I think we do the best we can with what we've got, and you know, a parenting job is indeed a very difficult one, and it teaches us a lot on the way. However, I think the key factor and the key thing I've noticed with most of the parents that I have worked with is that it is about consistency. So when you have a tool like this, which is 10 minutes per day, it's about consistency with that teaching, so you can solidify the behavior. We know that the neural pathways in the brain are, take 6 weeks to form, and then 6 months for it to become of repetition, for it to become a habit. So we work on the basis of neuroscience, and that's really around how the brain works and how we create repetition. And a lot of parents will do things, and they do a bit here and a bit there and a bit there. And really, emotional intelligence is something that hasn't been given enough. We're only really in the early days of how much it works for children, and there's a lot of science now showing it. So I would say that it's about how we become more present with our children, but having emotional intelligence tools is the key. That's what I've found has been the deciding factor for parents who are having and struggling with their kids, because what it does is teach them as parents and also their children. It wasn't our narrative, so we're learning this as we go. And so I think that's where you start as a parent, is how do I start to develop my emotional intelligence so I can demonstrate that to my children. You've also asked in there, tools will also help to improve the concentration of the kids. Yes, we do have, so our program at the moment is in it's in one of the schools in India, in Maharashtra. I hope I said that right. And we've found the feedback from that is that the children are far more focused than they've ever been. They are a lot, because what you're finding is with these tools, they find calm, and when they're calm, they are focused. So these are mindfulness exercises that they can do. These are tools that they can apply to help bring focus and calm. And so we know on the ground that it actually is working, and we have children with better levels of concentration at school and also focus. So I hope that answers both of your questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Tools that can work for any kids. Do we need an eligibility for the tool? These tools will work for all. We've had them for all different ranges. Some kids on the spectrum, all of that kind of stuff. They have, you know, like I will say that every child is different. So there is always going to be you know, it might work for one, it might not work for another. But what we have found is that it's worked for the majority. It is tailored to the age brackets of around 4 years old up to about 9, 10 years old. We've actually found though in India that children as high as 12 years old are still using the cartoons, and the cartoons are catered to younger children, but they love it. So yeah, so you're in that bracket of that age range, and that's really all you need. All the takeaway tools that you really need is just to commit to 10 minutes per day, and then access those tools. It's all self-paced, and the teachers portal is all self-paced. The parents portal is self-paced, and you know, it's step by step. You have videos from me teaching you how to teach this particular exercise for that day, and it runs for about 6 months, but we find that most parents just keep going with it because we do encourage you, because of neuroscience and the brain and the way the brain learns. They will just keep using these as repeat, and they're actually fantastic tools for when you're on school holidays to give the kids something to do. So I think I've had that other question. Is there any other questions that anybody has got? And I'll repost that link for anybody that wants to join the program. We'd love to have you involved. Wonderful. So one of the questions that I received was, I'll just finish reading it. Okay, so this program, yep, so the question was how long the program goes for. So you have 6 weeks for the initial period for the children. These are cartoons for children, and this goes for the 6-week period, and then you have 6 months of repetition, which are different programs, and these are actually for the parents. So you watch the video, whereas in the first 6 weeks the children watch the videos, and then the next 6 months you watch there's one video and one workbook for the whole month, and you have 10-minute exercises on repetition for 6 months, for 1 month. So there is a 6-week program and a 6-month program, and it's built on the way that the brain maps and the way the brain learns. So, you know, 6 weeks, like I said, to form the neural pathway, 6 months for it to become a redundant habit. That's where we want to get our children, is that this becomes a default sort of outcome for them. So that's sort of the framework of it. There is an online community for our parents. So if you have questions that come up, that's also something that you know, that you can do. You can go on there and ask any questions, and also share anything. So we are also contributing to primary education in the remote locations of India with all of the sales from this as well. So that's another element of it. So I'll see if there's any more questions. Okay, another question was, do I have to have emotional intelligence to teach it? No, you don't. So having emotional intelligence is a learned behavior. It's something we all learn. So don't worry if you don't know anything about it. You will learn about it as you go through the program. Okay. All right, so I've posted that link up again for anybody that is interested in joining. This is the short link if you want to copy that down, but I have put the actual longer link in the chat field. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone that has attended. I hope to see you in the enrollment for the program, and I hope that those tips that I shared today with you were helpful. Please do reach out if you do need anything at all. This is our website, and